can't be late. We're going nowhere and we want to get there fast. So lucky to have the unprecedented opportunity to join a cruise to nowhere. Our cruise to nowhere was a 4-night journey into open seas. Given that there are virtually no cruise ships operating in the world right now due to the global pandemic, we want to share this unique experience with you. What is it like to go on a cruise to nowhere? What additional restrictions and protocols were there due to COVID-19? What activities and entertainment were available? How does it compare to traditional cruises from pre-COVID times? You're about to find out answers to these questions and more. Step right up and come on board. Hi, I'm Jerry. Welcome to Eventful Globe, your guide to eventful events all around the globe. Today, we take you to nowhere! Join us aboard Royal Caribbean's Quantum of the Seas for 4 nights on a cruise through South Pacific, South China Sea, from Singapore to, you guessed it, Singapore! This video was done in partnership with Cruise Addicts, a great source of information for cruise reviews, tips and deals. We've included a link to their website in the description below. Royal Caribbean is one of the largest and most luxurious cruise lines in the world with 24 massive ships. Right now, their Quantum of the Seas is their only ship that has received the coveted permit to be sailing in such turbulent times. Due to COVID regulations, the ship is limited to 50% capacity and is only available to Singapore residents. Vaccination was not required. Since November 2020, the Quantum of the Seas has been based in Singapore. And for locals, we bring you great news. Their contract has just recently been extended to October 2021. Sidebar, this is not a sponsored post. We're recommending this cruise because we had a whale of a time and thought it was worth every penny we paid. This was no ordinary cruise. There were no ports of call, and we were bound to strict COVID safety protocols from the moment we booked our cruise. We were required to undergo a PCR COVID-19 test a couple of days before boarding. The test was included in the price of the cruise. For anyone who hasn't had one of these, it's an eye and nostril opening experience. It's uncomfortable, but not unbearable. Looking back on all the fond memories we had on our cruise, I confirm that the swab test was a worthwhile discomfort to endure. It really isn't so bad. The process was quick and our results were available within a few hours. Booking our test was the most painful part of the entire trip. Not only did my husband not receive any information about booking his test, the website for booking was also buggy. All these were probably not Royal Caribbean's fault since the test was conducted by a third-party company. With a little extra effort, all was remedied and we managed to get a test slot we could make. For departure day, we signed up as far in advance as possible for the earliest possible boarding time slot, which became very, very important for our enjoyment of the trip, as I'll later explain. Insider tip: book the earliest possible boarding time slot. These assigned slots were a COVID safety measure to prevent unsafe crowding and to reduce wait times due to the extra boarding procedures. In addition to the usual ID checks and immigration customs clearance that you expect on any cruise, because of COVID-19, we had to complete a brief wellness checkup in the form of an interview, a health declaration, and contact tracing check-ins before boarding the ship. We were then issued a tracelet, a contact tracing bracelet that we had to wear at all times, except when in water or in our staterooms. The tracelet was but one of 3 ways contact tracing was consistently conducted. Besides wearing a tracelet, we had to tap our keycards when entering and exiting a venue in the ship. All these were on top of keeping the Singapore government's Trace Together app or token connected at all times. After about 30 minutes, we were through and in paradise, aka the Quantum of the Seas. I was one of the first to board the ship, and as soon as I got to the ship, I walked briskly to guest services to reserve seats on the headliner shows. Lim at Guest Services very kindly helped me with my reservation and even booked bumper cars, which I didn't know I needed to book fast as well. If you're thinking of taking one of these cruises, we highly recommend you board early and book your entertainment first thing. All stage performers, from singers to dancers in small groups, had your masks off. The only times performances had to wear masks is if the dance ensemble consisted of a large number of dancers. When that was the case, the masks were aesthetic and alluring, arguably adding to the show. Personally, I preferred the performances where I could see the performers' full expressions. In Royal Caribbean's original show, Star Water, there were certain moments where dancers or models would press up against the glass panels that separate them from the audience, getting closer than what you'll expect in our COVID circumstance. All in all, I'm truly impressed by how Royal Caribbean has turned COVID restrictions into platforms for creativity, producing unique works of art that are an exclusive treat for the audience on the cruise. We had a fantastic time at all these shows and were pleasantly surprised by the variety of entertainment on offer. We enjoyed everything from acrobatics to comedy to musical performances. Each and every performance was amazing, with Go Art Duel and the Beatlemaniacs being our personal favorites. Watching all the headliner shows, one per evening, was the highlight of each of our evenings. Given the limited seats available at each performance venue, it was the minority of passengers who got to enjoy the headliner shows. Even though the ship is only at 50% capacity, the activities and entertainment are also at reduced capacity for safe distancing. The main venues where the shows and concerts took place, for example, were only at about 25% capacity, with plenty of space between each section of open seats, so guests could not mingle with other guests from other rooms. The trickiest part about booking the very limited slots for entertainment is that most reservations cannot be booked prior to boarding, except for the North Star, which we booked, and Ripcord by iFly. No other activities could be pre-booked. Only once on board and connected to the ship's Wi-Fi could we make almost all reservations through Royal Caribbean's very handy app that helps us customize our daily itineraries. After noticing guests playing pickleball at the sports deck, I learned that there were also additional activities that can only be reserved in person at the sports deck. At the sports deck, we unleashed our inner child. The bumper cars had us laughing uncontrollably and also allowed us to forget for a few minutes the craziness of the outside world we left on shore. When we weren't playing bumper cars here, we were taking part in the adult archery competition, which we won the silver medal in, and having a blast at various dance classes. That's it. Given the wide variety of concurrent activities available, I didn't see anyone being turned away. From craft to live entertainment, sports, and trivia, there was something for everyone. Our favorite activity was the scavenger hunt, in which we had to find crew members from the various nationalities on the ship. We loved that this gave us an excuse for more interaction with the friendly crew. We were so into the game, we ended up winning. We were surprised by the generous gifts we won, and were eager to share our joy. At every step of the way, the crew were extremely diligent and prioritized health and safety alongside fun. Groups were kept distanced, high-touch surfaces were cleaned after every use, and masks were required in all public areas except when exercising, using the hot tubs, eating and drinking. In the dining areas, tables were spaced apart and kept to groups of 8 or fewer. Temperatures were checked at each venue, and we were frequently asked to sanitize our hands with one of the many stations. Violations of COVID regulations would result not only in on-board penalties, but violators would be referred to the Singapore government, which had inspectors on board and routinely patrolling to ensure rules were adhered to. The local authorities have done such a fantastic job managing the virus. Singapore had no local COVID cases during the time we took our cruise. To ensure a safe and enjoyable vacation for everyone, the crew was constantly cleaning and crowd managing, and always with a smile. Well, we couldn't actually see their smile behind the mask, but each person wore a badge so we could imagine the smiles behind their masks. The ship and her crew were amazing, and we are so grateful to them for everything they did to make our vacation extra special. Most of the crew has been on the ship away from their families for over 6 months, with the pandemic still raging in many countries. We're so incredibly grateful to them for making our trip memorable and really going above and beyond. We'd like to give a shout out to Sazai, Yizak, Raz, Eka, and all other crew members for the unforgettably wonderful vacation we had. Thank you. If you get the chance to cruise on the Quantum of the Seas, don't miss the robot bar, Bionic Bar, that serves non-alcoholic drinks too. The whole cruise is very family friendly, with great activities for children and teens who can be left in the care of crew members while adults play like kids. If you've enjoyed our video, don't forget the like, share and subscribe buttons. With Eventful Globe, you won't be going nowhere but everywhere. Have a response or a question? No need to leave a message in the bottle. Drop it in the comments below. Thank you, and we hope to see you again.